Hi, today we're going to change the oil in a Polaris Hawkeye 300. As you can see, it's our new family four-wheeler. Because it's new to us, we're going to go through and change out all the fluids that we can get to. But today we're going to start with the oil. So what we need for an oil change are a few different things. We need 2 quarts of Polaris PS4 synthetic oil. That's a 0 weight 50 oil. You need a new oil filter. Model number 2520799. Pretty standard stuff. Of course, a funnel, a drip pan, and you do need an Allen wrench to undo the oil plug. I think it's like 6mm. It is metric.
Now the one tool I did forget was an oil filter wrench. So I had to make a quick run out to unfortunately a couple different stores to get one.
Well, that was a fail. Here we go. It's time to get in the zone at AutoZone. Should have come here for. Let's pick one. So the first thing we're going to do, and this is really just to give our viewers at home a better angle on everything, so we're going to jack up the four-wheeler. I do have the back wheels chalked and the parking brake set. This way it's not going to move at all. Our camera woman, my lovely wife, will be able to get underneath the four-wheeler and show you guys really what's going on while I'm underneath there and show you where everything's at. So let's do that first. Okay, so we've got the four-wheeler up in the air. What we're going to do is get our parts down on the ground here. We're going to get our oil drip pan in place. I'll set our new oil off to the side because we don't need that yet. Oil filter. Okay. Line up the drip pan underneath the oil plug. Pretty obvious. This is so that we can capture all the oil and don't have it flying all over the place. One thing I did exclude from our list of items that you probably need are handy paper towels. I use these blue shop towels. They're very durable. They work well. Sarah, if you want to come to the other side, we are going to take out the dipstick as well, just to kind of take a look at what our oil level is at today. This dipstick's pretty dirty. It's one thing I wasn't very happy about. This thing had been through quite a bit of mud in its past, so we're going to clean that up a bit as we progress here as well. That's going to be a little bit harder to get on camera, but again, this is our dipstick. We're going to clean this up really nice, and we'll show you the results in a little bit here. The wife wanted me to mention not to use water to clean your dipstick. We just had a lot of dirt all up in here, and even some a little bit along the edges of the threads here. So what I did was I took a paper towel and I used our air compressor to just kind of clean everything off and get any bits of dirt and gunk out of there. All right, now that we're underneath the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and take a look at where the plug is. So there's actually a nice cutout in the skid plate. Hopefully you can reach in there and you can kind of see. And actually I'm going to remove this to make it a little bit easier to work with that drip pan there. I took my extension off, got my H6 Allen wrench head on a socket here. We've got a nice handy cutout in the skid plate for where the drain plug is. We're just going to insert that in there, give it a nice pull. Ooh, it's tight. Just kind of broke it open. It should turn pretty easy from there. In fact, we're going to try not to get oil all over my wrench. Drip pan ready to go. And there we go. So the oil looks pretty good so far. It's black. That's good. We're not seeing anything milky. If we had milky oil, it means water had gotten in there. Look at our drain plug. That looks clean. Nothing like man's best friend to help you change oil in your four-wheeler. All right, Daisy. I gotta get to work. People are waiting.
There's someone else that wants to join.
So that right there is the oil filter. If you could pan in a little bit more. Yeah, right there. So I got to reach my hand in and unscrew that. So we're going to, looking at it here, we're going to unscrew it to the left, and that's the oil filter. All right, so we've got the camera kind of focused on this oil filter here. I'm going to see what I can do to get that thing off now.
Well, this was a struggle for a variety of reasons. First being, I definitely bought the wrong tool. This little socket type fitment looks like a great idea, but it really just doesn't fit that firmly or snugly around the filter, even though I know I did have the right size.
This thing's giving me hell.
The second thing was that the filter was just ridiculously tight on the four-wheeler. I don't know why, it just was. So
okay, you want to play rough?
I would definitely not recommend trying to use one of these types of oil wrenches on your oil change. I would recommend one of the strap type to get up in there. The other thing is you can take the side panel off, I found out later, and actually access the oil filter much easier than trying to come in from underneath. So there is that option as well. Once you have the right tool and then an easier access point, you should not struggle nearly as much as I did trying to get off your oil filter.
Okay. We got it. Finally. I think. Yes, we got it. Okay, so now we just need to remove the oil filter the rest of the way. Just unscrew it. Let's make sure the pan's underneath. Okay. So now we're gonna put the new one on. Before we do that, we're gonna put some oil just along the lip here. This kind of lubes it up, gives it a little seal. I'm just using some of the oil that's still on the other filter. Okay, I'm just hand tightening it. We may put a little bit more on there, but I think we're good. Now we just need to refill the engine with oil and put the plug back in before we do that. Okay, so the oil's still dripping a little bit out from where we removed the oil filter. So we're gonna move this pan over a little bit. You can see I moved the pan before it was done dripping out from the drain plug area. I'm gonna go on the other side now and actually replace the drain plug so that we can begin refilling the engine with oil. And here's the old oil filter. We're just gonna toss that. Okay. So one thing I should mention is this drain plug should have a crush washer on it. There may still be one up in there, although I doubt it. I think the oil was changed and it just wasn't replaced. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to do the same at this point because I just don't have really the time to let this sit out right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in right there. Get that mostly tight, and we'll come back with the socket wrench here in a second. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Okay. And they say the torque on that should be 15 pounds. I'm more or less there. I think we got a good seal. we're gonna just wipe off some of this excess that's just kind of sitting in here. Part of it drained a little bit funny because of the incline the four-wheeler's on. So I have it jacked up so that we can get a camera in here a little bit easier. So that's a little bit extra mess. If you don't jack it up, it'll probably pour straight out. You don't get as many extra drips like I did. But that's show business, right? Okay. Okay, so as you can see from this screenshot of the owner's manual, the 2007 Hawkeye 300 calls for PS4 fully synthetic high performance multi-viscosity oil designed to provide the ultimate lubrication performance protection. So it's a 0W50 oil. That's what I've got here from Polaris PS4 0W50. 1 quart, and it calls for 2 quarts. So you can see right here under capacity, 2 quarts of oil. 14 points on that drain, or 14 foot-pounds on that drain plug torque. I was off by 1 foot-pound, but I won't tell anyone if you won't. So here we go. We've got a trusty funnel here. We're gonna pull our dipstick out. Now that's been nice and cleaned off. There we go. As you can see, no oil on it because it is empty. Go ahead and put this guy in there. Gosh, that fits perfectly. Let's see. This I got at Northern Tool, this quick fill funnel. There you go. SKU number 10718, Northern Tool from Hopkins Manufacturing. Fits the Hawkeye perfectly if you're going to be changing the oil. Probably fits a lot of other Polaris vehicles too. If you're watching this video and you're just trying to figure out how to do an oil change on a Polaris ATV. I think these Sportsman 300 and 400s in the 2008, 2009 range also have this kind of similar setup. So there you go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start pouring the oil in since everything else is prepped. Gotta just cut a hole in the top of the oil here so I can get it open. Okay, there we go. I'll just watch that go in. Gosh, doesn't seem like this much oil came out in that drip pan. Wonder if we were low. Let gravity do its job. Just trying to get those last few drips out. I'll get as much as we can into the engine here. One. Here we go with the second quart. Ooh, scared me. Let's let that drain. Yeah, just a little bit left here. Okay. Now, all that's left is to let this funnel drain a little bit more. As you can see, you gotta let it just drip out. It's full all the way to where it's supposed to be. And I'll let that keep dripping here a bit. Still dripping out. You can't see it on the camera, but it is. Okay. We'll just put our funnel on a rag here. That's why we also have cardboard on the ground, just in case we have any leaks. So we'll go ahead and reinsert our nice and clean join plug. Okay. Make that nice and snug. Okay. And that's it. The last step is to actually start the engine, let it run for a little bit, and then turn the engine off. Pull the drain plug, make sure it's within the full line, and we're going to do that here in just a second. All right, it smells wonderful in the garage now. So we ran the engine for about 30 seconds. Now we're just going to remove the dipstick, wipe it off. Just double check to see that we're at a safe fill level, and that'll complete the job. Okay. Nice and clean. We'll put it in, pull it back out, and it looks like we're right in the middle of the safe range there. Okay. It's right where we need to be. And that is how you change the oil in a 2007 Polaris Hawkeye 300. Thank you.